Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday fun day for everyone out there. So this video is going to be kind of a rebuttal to a video from an awesome YouTuber. If you guys haven't heard of this YouTuber, the name is Tech Insanity. Small channel, just starting out, but I definitely would say to anyone out there, go check out the channel, see the videos that Tech Insanity has put up there, and if you guys choose to subscribe, that's big on you for doing so. But yeah, I like the videos. I've been watching his videos, and I've been, so far I've been a fan. So anyways, rebuttal video. This is one of the things I love to do with other YouTubers, is just kind of either reinforce their videos or just kind of like talk from a different point of view and just, have a good collaboration. And in this video, I wanted to rebut his video, which is why Android sucks in 2018. So the first things I'll point out, which is, more on the positive side, are a few things that, Tech Insanity did mention in his video. One of them, I'm going to reinforce this, where he talks about iOS and iPhones, and that, they get more software updates than Android devices do. And he's totally right about that. The thing is with that is that when you are a tech company building the hardware and the software, there should be no excuse for you to actually make software updates for your hardware. You're not relying on third-party sources of building hardware, and then because of their schematics and what they use and how they build that hardware, you send them the software and they have to basically make the software update for their hardware. So Apple basically gets appraised for that, and yeah, they do. With Android, the thing that I take, I don't want to say issue, that sounds so negative. But the thing that I'm rebutting here in this video is a statement that Tech Insanity made in his video regarding that it wasn't Samsung's fault that Android has to put out the software. Technically, it is Samsung's fault why the S7 does not have 8.0 or 8.1 Oreo, and the software is put out by Android. So to kind of break it down in a nutshell, Google builds the software, Android, right? So you have Google as the parent company, you have Android as the software. Now, once that software goes live and Google's like, okay, Android 9.0 is ready, it's fully baked, it's not half-baked, it's not beta anymore. They put it out there for all the OEMs to snatch up because it's open source and do as they please with it. Whether those OEMs want to put a skin on top of it or they don't want to put a skin on top of it. They do what they want with Android. It's open source. Now, it is up to the OEM if they're going to take Android and basically put it out there for previously built hardware that was built by them. So Samsung devices, obviously built by Samsung. LG, built by LG. Right? You guys get the point. So it is up to the OEMs. And if no one really believes me, go look at HTC schematics, because back in the day when the HTC Desire 601 came out, a lot of people that got that phone wanted to know when KitKat was going to be ready and available. So HTC was tired of responding to people, so they put out a chart of how they update their devices. And yes, while it is for HTC, other OEMs do it the same way. So in this chart, it had three start points. One was for HTC devices, one was for Google Play devices, and then there was one for unlocked devices. And it showed how they were going to update it, what checks and balances they had to do. What would happen if there was a bug immediately? What step would it go back to fix that bug issue before they got their version for their device fully baked and ready to roll out in a software update? So Samsung does it the same way, LG does it the same way, HTC obviously does it that way, Motorola does it that way. It's all the same with different OEMs, Huawei, ZTE, etc., etc., etc. They all do it the same way. They get Android. Once Google puts out Android, they get it. They have access to it. It's not locked away. They don't have to bid for it. It's given to them. They take it. They put their spin on it. And then they decide which devices they have out are going to receive this update. Now, you're probably asking, if that's the case, why don't they update all their devices? Very good question, and that question has a great answer to it. It may not be popular, but this is how it goes. So, they get the software update, they put their spin on it, they choose which hardware they want to give it to. Because they don't want to be shallow and say none of their hardware is going to get it. because that just makes them look incompetent and stupid. But what if they can choose, you know, hardware A, hardware D, and hardware G, and give that the update so you as consumers can see what that updated software would run like on one of their piece of hardwares, and then all the other ones that people are wishing would get it, like, oh, I wish hardware B would get it, I wish hardware C would get it. Then they release a updated hardware version of hardware B and C. Are you going to go and buy that device? Well, Moto E4 Plus, 7.1 Nougat. Could it run Android 8? Yes. Would it be awesome if it ran Android 8.0? Yes. Did they put Android 8.0 on this? No. What did Moto do? Moto G6 Play. You guys get the point? It is more lucrative for OEMs to sell you new hardware with the new software because they make money. They cannot go and take Android and say, hey, you, user of a Moto E4 Plus, if you're running 7.1 Nougat on our software build version, would you like 8.0? If so, pull out your debit card and pay us $19.99, and then we will send you the software update for you to update your hardware. They can't do that. They cannot charge you for an Android software update. So the only way OEMs are going to make money is by selling new hardware with the updated software in it. And that's what they do. So is it really Android's fault why your device did not get 8.0 Oreo or 9.0 beta? No, it's not Google's fault. It's not Android's fault. It's the manufacturer's fault, which is why Android is so fragmented and why iPhones and Apple seems better at times when it comes to software updates than it does for, you know, anything else. It's because they only build iPhones and iPads. That's it. But when it comes to smartphones, there's only iPhones. Yes, there may be 2 or 3 different sizes or 3 different styles, but it's an iPhone. It is not an LG running iOS, a ZTE running iOS. It's nothing like that. That is the difference. So it's like, if you go with Apple and iOS, you're looking to have the same type of phone as everyone else. You're looking to have the same type of features as everybody else. You're looking to have the same layout as everybody else. Because it's iPhone. It's one for all. When you go to Android, there's different types. There's LG, Motorola, HTC, Samsung, ZTE, Huawei, Kyocera, Blue, Doogee. There's OnePlus. There's, you know, what's the other one? Oppo. There's so many different ones with so many different takes of how the phone looks. So you get a lot of variety with Android, but you also have to deal with the painstakingly annoying fragmentation. You're at the mercy of OEMs, whether they want to keep the phone that you have and love, to keep it updated to the latest version of Android. That is the sacrifice you get for having options. Whereas with Apple and iPhones, you don't have to make that kind of sacrifice. But what you're sacrificing is having something a bit more personal. Because with iPhones, you're like everybody else. All of you have the same phone, same style, maybe a different color variation, but that's the most you'll get out of customization. Other than that, layout of the phone is the same, software layout is the same, performance is the same, battery life is the same. There's not really a difference between it. So it's either you go with one that you're going to get timely updates on, or you go with the other one in risk of not having an update at all, really. That is the big differences between iOS and Android, in a nutshell. Now, also in the video, he made mention that, you know, Apple slowed down their older phones to save on battery life. I wouldn't really look at that as something positive to say, because if you really go and research back to what happened with Apple, they weren't transparent with what they were doing. They slowed the performance down of older iPhones without telling any of their consumers they were going to do that. It wasn't until they were caught that they released a statement, and then they said it was because of the batteries in those phones. They lowered the performance so the battery life would last. When the warranty you get with Apple devices, battery is one of the things that's covered. If you're having issues with the battery, you can get a battery replacement in your iPhone, whether you send it into Apple support or you go to an Apple store with the in-store repair tech. So that whole thing of slowing down your phone for the battery, no, I never will buy that, as that was the reason why they did it. The way, and how most people see it, they did it to push people to buy the newer iPhones. Because when you're Apple and you're building the hardware and you're building the software and you're constantly keeping your older hardware up to date, there's really no other way for you to make revenue if you're lacking in revenue than to push people to buy a new phone, the same as what OEMs for Android do. But how do you do it if you're keeping all your old hardware up to date as with your latest hardware? Well, kill the performance off, make them feel like there's something absolutely wrong with their iPhone 6s Plus, and then them finally get so annoyed with it that they say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and buy me an iPhone 8 or an iPhone 10. Because the iPhone 10 sales were not as immaculate as people think it was. When the iPhone 10 came out, it wasn't a flop, but it did not sell out the way that Apple thought it would have. And they needed people to buy iPhones. So what better way than to make the iPhone run crappy? So that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys gathered something from it. It's a little bit of information, a little bit of insight of how Android and iOS do things. And if you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like to let me know. If you just subscribed, I appreciate that. Hit that bell option to know when I upload a video. And if you got anything else you want to add on, you know, some of my viewers out there that love to leave long comments, please do so in this video with your insight and share with the world. Subscribe to Tech Insanity. Go to his channel and check it out. Subscribe if you guys want to. Fully give the approval on that channel. I thumbs up that channel, so I would say to anyone out there, give it a shot, give it a try, watch his videos, and it's pretty cool. And until next time, guys, that's it for now. It's a pretty long video, but I had a lot to say. So, aloha, and talk to you guys later.